just talking about that opening game, did you learn a little bit more about your players from that first game against Oldham than you did, during pre-season? Was there more that you saw from them?
Cool. It's a good, deep question that I want to give you a really good answer on. I don't think I learned any more. I think our philosophies are still the same. You've just got to move the ball quick. We knew that teams would, obviously, every team makes it hard for you, but we knew that teams would possibly get into their defensive shape really quick, and we kept encouraging, as we have this week, about taking not even big risks on the ball, but if you see a pass that's incisive, take the opportunity. I think we recycled the ball well, but sometimes unnecessarily, I think. So there's times where, like, there's the pass, I remember one vividly, and I can say it because he's big enough to take it. Aaron Collins turned inside their half in the first half, and Mendes was in. And he looked at him and he thought, you know what, we can just keep it. And I just think that as a team, we just need to be a bit more incisive, because if we have, like we did, have loads of the ball, and the opposition feel like they can't get a foothold, all they'll try and do then is try and stop you and try and do you on the counter-attack, and which, in fairness to Oldham, had a good chance off one of our corners second half. Another day, if Callum Patterson didn't run back like, Wild Coyote or whatever it was, Speed Roadrunner, they might have scored and we'd be disappointed. So I just think we just got to move the ball quicker, which I've always said. Sometimes the lads need to see it as well as hear it from me.
I found it really interesting, and this goes back to a conversation that we had, a few months back. There was a moment, I can't remember who it was that passed the ball, but I thought, well, that's not a great pass, but Richie clapped it. And I think that's what you're talking about. Trying something and failing is better than not trying it at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was very, it was almost like, I want everyone to know that's trying something.
That's what we like. So, for example, when the wide men get 1v1, we love our wide men to take people on. Like at different clubs, at different coaches, they'd be like, well, if you can't take him on, then recycle it, go out the other way. Whereas I'm like, gas out. Like, you're paid to be at the top end of the pitch and be exciting. You get a chance 1v1, take him on. If you put it in the car park, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Just get at him again. And I like my players to play really on edge and fearless. And I thought at times, maybe the first game of the season made us possibly more edgy. And I also think not the turning point, but us not getting the penalty. I think if we'd have got that, the game would have took a different turn. But everyone can say that. But I just think that would have took the edge off us a little bit, and then we became a little bit more, as the game progressed, a bit more desperate, which I understand because I played. You're desperate to win the game, which I like. I like the fact that the lads were disappointed after the game. They hadn't lost, kept another clean sheet, but I'd rather win like 6-5 than obviously a 0-0.
Aaron Collins looked to be struggling a little bit with his arm. What's going on there?
Yeah, well, I obviously I did my interview after the game and said about the bee sting, which is legitimate, as you well know, because off the record I've shown you the
picture,
the photo, of his arm. But he actually, when he landed from the tackle for the discussed penalty, he injured the top of his arm, so he's in a bit of pain. I watched him during the game. I watched him hold his arm a bit funny. Yeah. And I thought he was being a bit dramatic about a wasp sting at the time. But I asked him, was he all right to continue? He said he was fine. No one said anything different. It was only when I watched the game back that I realised, he was holding it funny. So he's got a little bit of damage to his arm. So we'll have to see how he is.
I just wanted to mention a couple of players on the day, and I think a lot of fans and media as well were looking to the new signings. But actually, it was some of the players that were already here that Liam Kelly caught my eye because he seemed a different player to the one that I saw last season. And in any way, does that give you a huge amount of pleasure, because maybe you and Richie and the coaching team have brought something out in Liam that we didn't necessarily see last season?
I think with Liam, like, I knew Liam before we came, obviously, and the season before he was outstanding in the League Two campaign for Crawley. I thought in the playoff final, the semi-final, he was the best player on the pitch by a mile. So I always knew he could play. I just think that, and I can say this collectively, just when we came into the building, it was just everyone was a little bit downbeat. Everyone, including the fan base, a bit disappointed where they were in the league, understandably. And I just think maybe some of the players took the disappointment, not personally, but harder possibly. And whether you then get a loss of form or a loss of confidence, and then you need a change. Either, you change the people or change the people, that old classic. But maybe it was needed, like he needed to wear a different shirt, or someone needed to, encourage him in a different way, possibly. And maybe the way we play suits him, I don't know. But he had a really good off-season, which was hugely encouraged by the coaching team. And then had a really good pre-season. So he takes the confidence of that into the season. So it didn't surprise me. When you asked me at the start, which is a good question about, what surprised me, what did I learn? I didn't come away from that thinking, do you know what, Liam's not bad. I knew he's not bad. I think he's a really good player. But it makes you remember that these players are humans. They're not robots. They're not I don't program A2 and they go out and do exactly as I tell them. You have to, encourage them and motivate them individually. And some days they have bad days. Which is the level, unfortunately. But I think he started the season really well off the back of a really good pre-season, as have many of the other players. It's just that, if we would have got the goal and we would have won, we'd think, right, good start. Clean sheet at home, first game done, 89 points left, let's get this cracked. Unfortunately, we didn't get the goal, and I don't want to make a big deal about that. I said to the lads after the game, look, you just got to try and average 2 points a game, just keep being aggressive, and after 10 games we'll know better where we are, but we're going to drop points all the time. I know that.
And Alex Gilby's the other one I just wanted to mention. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever seen him in better shape physically, in the time that he was here previously and last season as well. And makes such a difference in the middle of the park.
Yeah, well, it's nice because when we first came in, we didn't have Crowley, didn't have Gilby, didn't have Nath. Right. It ripped the team apart. So we put some plasters on everybody else. So it's nice to see Gilbs. I knew that, obviously I knew him as well. I knew he's a really good athlete. I know he's a good leader. I know he's vocal. He's a really bad loser, which makes him an acceptable winner. But he wants to win at everything, which is good. And again, his performance didn't surprise me. I knew he'd be a player that, I'd like to work with because I like people to be able to run. He also knows that running's his strength. So if you don't come with your super strength, you're not bringing much to the team. So his definitely is his energy and his ability to run in behind. And that was some of my disappointment with some of the play first half. Potentially the runs from the eights were quite good. We could have possibly slipped them in a couple of times. But, they haven't played together loads and loads. I'm not making excuses. But hopefully over the weeks the relationships will grow and we'll see even better performances than we have already.
And Russian's the only one I just wanted to mention as well, because he must, it must frustrate you a little bit, because you can see in one moment, go on, and then the next moment, slight disappointment. But, look, this is early days. I'm not criticising
that's
him.
fine. Just... if he sat here, I'd say what I thought of him. I think he is some amazing talent. I don't think he realised how good and dangerous he is. That's interesting. And if I played against him and he got the ball and he squared me up, I'd be thinking I'm in deep here. I am in trouble. If he knocks it and runs, I'm in all sorts of bother. And at times he does it amazingly. At times they get close and it's harder for him. And he just needs a good run. All attacking players come across as the most confident, and I think all the attacking players the most insecure. So they're the ones that need reassuring all the time. They're the ones that need to be shown their good stuff and be encouraged to make mistakes. Because in fairness, a lot of the stuff is you're trying to transport the ball from the back to the front, and then you're expecting the front ones to provide entertainment, enjoyment, skill, shots, crosses. The pressure's on them to perform. So I think Russia's had a really good start, and I can see how good he can be. I think he could be great. He's at a really good age. He does listen. He's an amazing kid. Before I met him, the first time I met him in real life, I was thinking, wow, he could not be more relaxed. He's the opposite of anxiety to me. I'm a good 99 out of 100, and he's the one. So he doesn't get too anxious, I don't think, but he does care about his football, and maybe sometimes he overthinks things. I also think because he's a pace player, he's a bit like Mendes, and I've had Mendes for a few years. He has nitro. This is how I put it. So he has a burst where you think, oh my God, brilliant. He gets the ball again 3 seconds later, and I'm calling myself a super fan here. You think, go on and do it again. But his nitro hasn't recharged yet Do you know what I mean? You just want him to do it at pace all the time, don't you? Yeah. And if you watch like Liverpool, like Salah's amazing, but he doesn't sprint every single time he gets the ball. Sometimes he gets it and just lays it off. And you think, go on, you just megged him and bent one in the top corner. So I think we also have to be understanding the fact that, look, every time he gets it, he isn't going to run at like, Usain Bolt pace and nutmeg someone and bend it in top corner. Although, from a managerial point of view, that would be amazing.
Just finally from me, Barrow away, better in August than in February, I guess.
Yeah, and definitely better on a Saturday than a Tuesday.
Yes.
I spoke to a manager who's going the other end today, and we were like laughing about it. He said, "Where you going?" I said, and then he said where he was going, and I was like, "Wow!" And he went, "Well, it's better than a Tuesday." Correct, it is, my friend. Correct. I took my previous team up there last year in the League Cup, and lost on penalties, so I'm well aware of the whole surrounding. The pitch was amazing, which will suit like both teams. So. Just looking forward to the next game. Just want to get a few games under your belt, really. Same with, I don't know if we'll speak before, but the same Tuesday night at Bristol. Like, it'll be good to get some minutes into some players, and then like after 3 or 4 games, you start to get a real good feel of where you're at.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
On those players that haven't played yet, I mean, you had an extensive list of players who didn't even make your squad on Saturday. I mean, we talk about players coming in. You're obviously going to be starting to look at players potentially leaving as well, just to keep everyone happy,
I think Saturday, because we've got a few injuries, I think the only player not named was it Trippy and Callum Endry. Yeah. So it's only 2, so that's not like offensively big. But yeah, you're right, that if we're going to bring more players in potentially, then it's natural osmosis that some go the other way. So that is always the case, and what will end up happening, which will happen at every football club in the Football League, players will think that, look, when they're in the team, great. If they're the next one in, okay. If they think they're the one after that, it's a lot harder. So if you're like, for example, and I can say this, we've only got 1 left back in the building. If you're the 3rd choice left back, you're thinking, maybe I should go and play my football somewhere else. And they sort of evolve through, they can feel it and then they can see it. So I do expect over the next couple of 3 weeks some more movement, ins and obviously outs.
And I mean, we've mentioned it before, we like they're footballers, they understand how it all works. It's the nature of the beast sometimes that when you bring players in, someone's kind of got to make way.
Yeah, it's never nice, and people settle in areas, and kids go to school, and all the humanistic part of it that people don't see. You think, oh wow, he's got to move to there, but like logistically, how difficult it is. Like I signed a player just recently, and his daughter's starting her first school, or supposedly next week. So like she doesn't know he signed here yet. So that's going to be a great conversation, but. So it's just all them bits that are difficult, but also like for players, they've seen it. They've replaced other people. Like when players come to this club, if you came here as a centre forward 2 years ago, you replaced someone. Someone then moved on. It is part and parcel of football, unfortunately. And I think, like from my point of view, this has got nothing to do with football, just who I am. It's tough on me because I get to really like people, and I've got to try and distance myself from liking them as people because, fundamentally we need to bring success here. So you get attached to people, you spend a lot of time with them for 8 weeks, and you think, well, can he do a job for us? And you're thinking, look, you've got to sometimes be a bit brutal about it, which is elite sport, and, that's why we're all in it.
What's your take on the loan market so far? We've not seen any loans come in, or all of the deals have been permanent.
Well, I think the loan market is good, but I don't think anything really happens till the big hitters are back. And then once the big hitters are back, it's like a big steam train, and then the big wheels start turning, and then all of a sudden everyone moves to the back of the train, and then we find some bodies come flying off the back. So that's sort of what happens. I don't think, because the Prems aren't back yet, it hasn't been loads of movement. So, the Prems go to the champ, the excess champs go down. I do think it's harder to loan the quality of player that I want to come in League Two. Weirdly, I think it's easier to get them on permanent than it is to get them on loans. However, we are open to the loan market, and while we've got all our spots available, then once it starts to get exciting and someone can come in and improve us, then we can move. Whereas I've had it before where I've used all my slots up, and I've never done it, and I would never do it, where you have 6 loans, because that is a disgrace in the dressing room when one lone knows that he's never going to be in the squad. So, but we've got it free. We are looking at players all the time. We're not like putting loans to the side. It isn't the case, but we've targeted certain players that we're desperate to get in. We've done that, so now we're just trying to see where we can improve, and if it's loan or permanent, it's fine.
We spoke last season about you maybe having to get to grips more with what to expect from League Two football. How are you finding that?
After 93 minutes, okay, I survived it. I mean, we're good at keeping clean sheets so far, touch wood. We just need to be a bit more sexy at the top end. Yeah, fine. I think, I spoke to a manager pre-season. He was saying to me about it. I don't know if I said this on the record last week, but he was saying, look, mate, it took me a couple of months. And I was thinking, what is going wrong here? Why are we not winning? Yeah. And he said, look, you've just got to realise that, there's sort of like two sports within one. 1 week you have to play one way to try and get a result, and against your moral compass, really, you have to try a different way in another week. So I don't think, when we're not surprised by it, and I'm not saying, in fairness, I've watched loads of football. I don't dislike it. So at least there's things happening all the time. I will give it that. But I think after 10 games, I'll have a much better appreciation because I've only played, what have I played now? 5-6 games in total. So it probably isn't a fair representation of the league yet. So I know there's some really good teams. I know there's like the Chesleys. I think the Cambridges will be good. I think Gillingham will be good. And then there's a few curveballs. And then Grimsby have a really good start. So then all of a sudden you're like, wow, Grimsby beat Crawley 3-0. That's a good start. So I spoke to someone at Crawley. So I sort of getting a gauge as the games go by. So like already we've now watched Barrow and Chesterfield because they played each other. And then the next opponent will be able to watch probably 2 or 3 of their games, depending if they played in the cup. So then all of a sudden you've then watched another portion of the league. Whereas at the moment it only feels like we've watched 3 teams. Yeah. So it's hard to really gauge. But it seems like there's a lot of people and a lot of business.
What are you sort of expecting from Barrow? We kind of know that they are what they are in the way Andy Wing sets them up. But what is it do you think they're going to be most strong at?
Yeah, well, we've obviously watched their game against Chesley and they were really difficult to break down. And then the last 20 minutes, they went for it. They've got a physical threat at the top of the pitch who's got pace and, in fairness, on the counter-attack nearly scored and nearly got them a point. So away at Chesterfield, who I think he said, we listened to his interview, the favourites to win the league. So to come away with nearly a point is a good performance. So I know they're difficult to break down. I know once in that game, away from home could be different to how they play at home, but at Chesterfield, they sort of let the back line of Chesterfield have the ball and sort of mid-block and make it difficult. However, near the end of the game, they went for him and caused problems. So, in fairness, my honest answer is I think I know what shape he's going to play, I think, as he probably does of me. I think I know what players they are, but I still don't know how they're going to play because they could come out and go, right, from the offset, we're going for them. Or they could say, we'll just, put our toe in the water and see how it goes. So that's the thing. They've only played one game, one away from home. The home game could be completely different. And I'm not disrespectful enough to think it's going to be like, this is their one way of playing because most coaches have tricks up their sleeves. So, we haven't got loads of set pieces to look at because hasn't been many, so it's still really early on where, I think both managers go into the game not blindfolded, but a little bit less aware than you will in a few weeks' time.
Nice one, thanks, Paul.
No worries.
Thanks, Paul. We spoke last week about the strikers and attackers you've now got and the firepower. You said after the Oldham game that they weren't actually given enough chances. You can't score with every chance, you said quite rightly.
Yeah.
Was that a one-off because it was game number 1, or is it something that you've been talking about this week?
I don't know if it's a one-off. I think I watched all the League 1 and League 2 goals back, and I saw loads of goals in League 2 come down from either pinpoint crosses, which we didn't have many pinpoint, but in fairness we also didn't have many where there was a centre forward in the middle of the 6. But a lot of goals came off mistakes or deflections or, swing and a miss off a defender and it fell to someone in the middle of the box. And what I would say is Oldham defended their box really well. So I'm hoping that we don't come up against such diligent defending every week. But I do expect or want, as the players do, if you ask them individually, a bit more creativity in the final third. And that comes with games. Like I can't say, and I'm not being rude about Oldham, I don't remember them cutting us apart with massive creativity either. So it was a game where we sort of neutralise each other out. And a lot of games at the start of the season are weirdly either very low scoring or really ridiculously high. So I'm hoping, whichever way we go this week with our strike force, that hopefully we start the game with aplomb and start putting the goalkeeper under pressure. There's no guarantee that will get us goals or wins, but it gives you a better chance.
Mm-hmm. To get your 2 points per game average that you've spoken about, you really need to win on Saturday. I've said before, you're quite a calm, relaxed, experienced manager. Will there be a little bit of extra edge come 3 o'clock?
No. As long as we're aiming for 2 point average over 46, I won't lose my marbles after 2. That'd be fine. We're just consistent with the messaging, and hopefully, over the course of the season we'll be there or thereabouts. And we aim for 2, and maybe we're being over optimistic. But like I said, if we would have, took a chance on Saturday, even if we'd have took the pen and we'd have won, we'd be a point ahead of schedule. So which would be amazing, because you do well to get 2 points out of one game. So I'm not overly concerned. Obviously, I want to win. You can see me after games. I'm not like a boasty winner, and I'm not like a horrific loser. But like, we're in it to win. We're in it to entertain people. I still don't think the fan base have seen how we want the team to really play. So I'm looking forward to that, really. And then if we don't get the result, but we get the performance, then I think great. At the moment, we sort of got a reasonable result and a reasonable performance, but a long way from where we really want to get to.